Hey everyone, welcome back to Engelbard Gaming. I was thinking that it's been far too long since I subjected myself, and, well, you, to a truly terrible game. I'm correcting that oversight today with a complete playthrough of the Game Gear version of Double Dragon. Now there are a lot of truly terrible ports of the original arcade version of Double Dragon. Typically you'll find these on Western home computers that were popular in places like the US and Europe in the late 80s and early 90s. Game Gear Double Dragon, despite bearing the same name and cover art as the original title, is instead something completely different that was developed and released by Virgin Interactive in 1993, long after the series was past its prime. Now I'm going to cut to the chase here a bit because this game is super long, clocking in at almost an hour. First, the good. The backgrounds are really fantastic, the detail and colors are amazing for a Game Gear game, and honestly among the best I've seen on the system. Really. The bad? Literally everything else. The sprites are terrible, the animation is god-awful, the control is in its own universe of bullshit, the levels are way too long, there are too many of them, the music is a combination of short, bland 1980s style Euro chiptunes, sort of like something you'd hear in a 128K Spectrum game or Amstrad CPC game. And really, the enemies are terrible and the boss encounters are awful. On the music front, don't get me wrong, some of that style of music can be really good. But not here. It's inoffensive at best, and grating at worst. I've brought my friend Jeff into this one so he can join me on the commentary. It'll be interesting since he had never seen this game before watching this very playthrough. Experience the horror from the perspective of both a seasoned veteran and a complete noob. Enjoy.
Alright, so what are you subjecting me to today?
This is Double Dragon for the Game Gear.
Who is that ape? Wait, no, hold on, this is not Double This
Look,
is
it
not
starts,
Double Dragon.
you pick up a gun and start shooting everybody.
No. No. You shot that guy in the face.
So what's the first thing that you notice about this game visually?
Well, it's nighttime in the city, and,
Look at the way the sprites move.
well, yeah, it's very clunky, but is this a side scroll, like just a regular side scroller? Do you have no up and down?
No, you can move up and down. You can move up and down when you need to. Oh, that's a hilarious thing with any of the guns you see in this game. You can shoot a certain amount of bullets, and then the next time you go to fire, it just flies out of your hand, and you can run and pick it up real fast before it disappears.
Well, that's how you reload a gun. Don't you know anything about guns?
Yes. You let it pop out of your hand, land on the floor, and then go grab it.
And then you... Okay,
there's a C. That's for continues, by the way. You start out with 3, and then you earn them either by picking them up, which is super rare. I'll explain the other ways you earn them as we go along, so they'll make more sense.
Who's that lady you shot?
Don't worry about that.
Oh no, you shot me in my fallopians.
She looks a lot like Pi from Virtua Fighter 2.
Yeah.
It's similar to her alternate outfit. Here's like a glitch. I don't remember if this happens on real hardware or not, but it won't let me go in until I fire the gun. You'll see in a second. You can tell this game is fantastic, right? I'm in! There it goes. In between every scene, this game is set up sort of like Final Fight or Streets of Rage 2. In between every scene, it does this. If you don't take any hits, you get a continue, or if you get a certain amount of points, you get a continue.
And if you keep shooting people in their fallopians. Oh, well, how about that?
Yeah, you'll get to actually see me use some of the martial arts now.
You know, kicking somebody in the... What is that guy's problem?
I don't know. I kind of wonder if he's supposed to be like a Bobo in this, even though he's tiny. And that's another thing. You'll notice that none of the enemies look anything like any of the enemies from Double Dragon. Even though this game has the name Double Dragon, you can see it's clearly not based on any other game that's named Double Dragon. It's its complete own thing.
I like how when you punched her, her hairstyle changed.
Yes. And believe me, this doesn't get old at all, seeing this in between every single scene.
Oh no, I'm enjoying it.
Another thing I have to mention here is I played this game for like 5 hours the other day practicing at it to get good enough to do a decent recording, and it's way harder than it looks. Like, I think most people, even using all 3 continues, will not even make it to this area, which is still Mission 1, by the way.
I'm not even playing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I even have the patience to try to make it this far.
And like, I can't even describe how sluggish just walking around the screen is. It's ridiculous.
Do you shoot some... Why is he holding the bat like that? What country is he
That's
from?
how you hold bats. Come here! Burn, burn!
Oh, that guy just pop out of nowhere and samurai sword you?
Yep.
Hey, skids.
Yep.
What everybody involved in this game has in their underwear.
Yes. Now, the one positive thing I can say about it is the backgrounds actually look pretty decent in this game. Even though it doesn't look anything like Double Dragon. I mean, we have this blown up right now, but on a tiny Game Gear screen, aside from being washed out, this game looks great just in a still shot. Unfortunately, the game moves when you play it, which kind of ruins that illusion.
Are you fighting Lucky from King of the Hill?
Maybe.
I slip on some pee-pee.
This game came out in 1993. It's from Virgin Interactive. In some other territories, it's got a different name. I think it's called like Double Dragon: The Revenge of Billy Lee or something like that. I'll go look it up and I'll put that in the video somewhere.
Revenge of Bimmy Jim.
The Revenge of Bimmy and Jimmy.
And them Jack Burton boots. What's with the Jaden Smith silhouette there?
I love the face on this thing.
I know, why does he look like he's from Planet of the Apes? Oh, now you're gonna go fight in a fancy restaurant. Okay. So, you must wear a tie.
I mean, here's the ultimate insult to this game. I have seen Spectrum games where the characters move a lot more smoothly than this.
That lady was just walking by and...
She's a bad guy. That's another thing in this game. It's kind of hilarious. It's got a huge proportion of female enemies. Like, way more than any other Double Dragon game, or really any other fighting game I've probably ever played.
Then you got this jackass on roller skates.
Yeah. Right, with all the female characters, I half wonder, were they just trying to be inclusive, or did the developers use this as... use this in some way to get back at all the females that wronged them in life?
I was about to say somebody went through a tough divorce during that creation.
With that one there, what she was just getting ready to do that you didn't see, is she holds up like a can of hairspray or something and shoots a fireball out of it.
Well, can you blame her? You just kind of ran up on her and hit her with a bat.
Look, I can't be responsible for every chick that gets in my way when I'm swinging my bat.
I'm just gonna swing my bat like that, and if you walk into it, it's your own fault.
And the music in this game, not from any Double Dragon game that exists at all.
Is that supposed to be Tonfa he's
I don't know. Again, it didn't want to let me in until I swung the bat. That time I figured that out a lot faster than with the gun in the first level.
I was about to say, you didn't bring your gun with you.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they captured that picture from Dragon the Bruce Lee story.
I was about to say, that's not even your character's silhouette.
So here's a fun little area.
Are you in a Virgin Megastore?
Yes. It was made by Virgin Interactive, remember? Now we get a frickin' shotgun.
What department is this?
This is the department of don't get in my way or you die.
CDs and shotgun? Oh.
And again, you've got like a split second to pick that thing up before it vanishes.
Well, who are you shooting at?
Here's the thing. The controls in this game are god-awful. I mean, good luck trying to ever turn around in this game. You see there, I wasn't even able to pick the gun back up.
Because, you know, that's what happens when you drop a gun, is they eventually, you know, disappear.
They just blink for a little bit and then vanish.
Wait. That scene ended rather abruptly.
Yep. Look, I got 2 extra continues there.
Because you gave up strutting the boulevard.
Strutting the boulevard.
This is like one of those games that I imagine like nobody involved has ever put on a resume.
Could be. Judging from the end credits, there were not that many people involved. I think there was like maybe 5 people on the team. Look at me punch this sign into them and they die.
They all reside in...
Look at this one.
Is that Sonic the Hedgehog?
It looks kind of like Katana from Mortal Kombat 2 mixed with Blanca.
Why is she headbanging like that?
I think she may have some mental stability issues.
I guess.
Why did they think that was a good idea? I don't know what that's supposed to be conveying. And then I assume she's a robot because she explodes.
It's just that time of the month. You know, that exploding time of the month.
Yes, that'll get me a lot of female viewers. Thanks for that.
You say as you punch this one in the boobs over and over and over again.
Yes, that's perfectly acceptable.
Just so you know, we both have wives, so we're very familiar with that exploding time of the month.
Alright, let's not talk about that anymore.
Otherwise we'll get exploded upon.
God, I've been married for 22 years.
What does that say in the window?
I don't know. It's like Gene Etris. Maybe it's like a version of Tetris, but with genes. Here's Pi from Virtua Fighter 2 again. And yes, I know Pi is also in Virtua Fighter 1, but she specifically looks like Pi's alternate outfit in Virtua Fighter 2. Hey, I just noticed when that girl gets knocked on the ground, it looks like she's wearing a skirt instead of pants. The one that looks like Pi.
I don't know, but apparently she's got very weak ankles because that's how you defeated her.
Yes. And isn't this fun? You jump kick, then you wait 10 minutes for the bike to come back. And then sometimes you miss, like that. That's another thing I need to mention in this game. The collision detection is ridiculous. I mean, sometimes you will get hit by things that are like at the bottom of the vertical plane when you're at the top. Meanwhile, you could be right in an enemy's face, punching at them, and they will not get hit by any of it. I mean, like, there's no rhyme nor reason to any of it. It makes this game incredibly frustrating to play.
Well, that guy just knocked you right out, didn't he?
No. I chose to do that.
I don't see how anything in this game is voluntary.
I don't understand how the backgrounds look so good, but the sprites are so awful.
Well, you should go into halls and find out.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost moving like they're all made up of tile-based stuff, but I don't think they are in this. I didn't open it in an emulator to verify that, but I don't know. Maybe they're tiles, even though they don't look like it.
Just a fist out of nowhere.
This guy is definitely not Odd Job or Random Task.
Definitely not.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the epitome of the late 80s Euro chiptune soundtrack that you would find in like Commodore 64 games or games using the AY chip. Some of them are okay. I mean, there's some great music, especially on the Commodore 64. But I mean, it is not appropriate for stuff that came out in 1993 when this game was released.
You know, that's something I'm glad you don't really see in games anymore. Is that, you know, it's complete crap that he's able to go off screen and continue to beat the crap out of you, but you can't move.
Correct. He can hit you from off screen, but you can't hit him from off screen. Which is true of basically every enemy you encounter in this entire game.
Oh my god, why is this game so long?
Don't worry, we're not even halfway done yet. The hearts are extra lives, by the way, if you can pick them up.
Are those math containers?
Maybe.
1 + 1 is 2, and that's math.
Yes. Maybe it's short for Mafia. They're Mafia containers. They're full of Mafias.
I bet he doesn't drop his gun.
No, he does not drop his gun. No enemies drop weapons of any kind in this game.
That guy has really bad posture for, like, a goon.
I mean, if you're gonna make this game like this, why even bother getting the Double Dragon license? It's like you kind of resemble Billy in the first game, but other than that, there is nothing in this that is even remotely related to Double Dragon.
Also, we're gonna give you a pistol right off the bat.
It's like your moves don't feel like Double Dragon, they're not the same as any game in the series at all. I love how he just sits there and takes it while you do that. Here comes the boxer that may or may not be a Bobo.
That guy was like, ow, my loafers.
I got shot to death in the crotch. Who are you, RoboCop? Reminds me of that video, I don't know who made it, where RoboCop goes around shooting like every bad guy in the crotch. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's from the, a bunch of people did a full remake of RoboCop, scene for scene, except, yeah. But
they did the entire movie?
They did the entire movie. It's called Our RoboCop Remake.
Wow. I only ever saw that one scene from it.
Yeah, the entire film.
Crazy.
Done by, yeah, numerous.
That was like, what, like 20 years ago?
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, like, it was a long time ago, but it wasn't like 20 years ago. It was like 10 years ago, maybe.
Oh, I thought it was even longer ago than that.
But that particular section was done by a group called Fatal Farm.
Yeah.
Who was popular for a little while with their Lasagna Cat shorts. Which were these, like, weird, trippy, live-action recreations of Garfield comic strips.
I never saw any of those.
They're weird, but they're pretty cool, too. But yeah, they're the ones who did the...
So you're not at all sick of this screen yet, right? Enjoy the view!
I bet I won't!
God, these not motorcycle. Those suck also, but these roller skate enemies are so annoying. It's like the best you can do is hit them twice like I did just there.
It's like, this came out in 93, you say?
1993.
They're not even on rollerblades. They're on, like, you know...
Yeah, skates. Just regular skates.
Like the kind you rent at the roller rink.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the only Double Dragon game that has even worse sprite movement than Double Dragon 3. So I don't even know if you saw the switch there. You gotta punch the switch and then get on the chain. Getting on the chain is like a complete act of randomness. Sometimes he grabs it, sometimes he doesn't. Even if you're standing in like the same exact spot.
Well, at least there was a new mechanic.
And again, the backgrounds in this level are really good.
Yeah. Which means they're probably plagiarized from something.
Well, I don't know, because all the backgrounds are good in this game, even though it doesn't even remotely recall any prior Double Dragon game. This is also only one player, if you were wondering. But you could probably tell just by the insane amount of flicker in it that there's no way there would be a second player.
So there's just Bimmy and no Jimmy.
Kind of. I don't want to spoil the end. Here's me trying unsuccessfully to get on a chain over and over.
I don't want to spoil the end, but here's a spoiler.
I don't want to spoil the end, but you can't get on that chain. This is the end.
I wish. No, we're about
Hey, I played through this game 3 times before I recorded this one. Well, twice. This was the 3rd playthrough I did.
Yeah, that's why you do this channel and I don't.
Yeah. I would say this is easily the worst game I have played for this so far. This is worse than Amiga Double Dragon. Because at least with that, it was ugly as hell, but you knew you were playing Double Dragon. If you just show this to anybody, they wouldn't know what this was. Unless they were familiar with the game already.
Is it worse than CD-ROM Golden Axe?
Yeah, by a mile.
Ow. CD-ROM Golden Axe is very bad.
I think this is probably the worst quote-unquote belt-scroller beat-em-up that I've ever played. I mean, like I said, you really have to experience it yourself to appreciate just how terrible the controls are. I mean, they're so sluggish and barely responsive.
Yeah, and by experience you mean play the first level, get frustrated, and turn it off?
Oh, I don't even think you play the first level. You'd play the first area of the first level, and that would be enough for you. But here's a hilarious thing with this boss. I make very quick work of him on this playthrough. The first 2 times I played it, I was probably on that boss for a good 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, thank God you got him down so
And look at this. It doesn't let you hit the switch, which I figured out. You have to scroll all the way over first, and then it'll let you hit the switch.
Wow. Well, probably because the chain's so far over. At least it let you jump onto the chain and didn't just...
It does that automatically.
Is that a bus or a train?
Yes.
It's a truss.
Yes.
You have a hernia. You have a hernia.
Yes. Does that answer your question? And again, we have a nice little level with some simulated parallax scrolling. Again, it looks good. The colors are so good in this game for the most part. Like, just static shots of the background. One of the nicest Game Gear looking games probably ever made.
Too bad everything else is crap.
Yeah, one of the nicest looking and one of the absolute worst playing.
They sure put a lot of, like, Virgin signs in here. I wonder if Richard Branson even knows this game exists.
He probably mandated all this stuff.
Like, if I'm gonna pay for it, you're gonna...
If we don't put all the signs in there, how will they know it's Virgin?
Do you really want them to know?
They might think somebody competent made this game. And I've got to also say, music, absolutely awful for the most part. And like, this stage, this is just crap.
Bing, 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 bing. Bing, bing, bing.
I mean, I know there's only so much you can do with the sound chip and the Game Gear, but, I mean, this is terrible.
How did she fall like that?
Not easily.
That's, it's not a very demure posture.
And I don't know if you noticed there, but when she goes to spray you with the thing, they of course drew butt cheeks on the girl.
Of course. Because they're cheeky?
So funny.
Wait, was that guy walking or just kind of gliding? Like, did they give him a walk animation at all?
No, he pretty much just shuffles around.
Oh, I must go. My home planet needs me.
Why walk when you can shuffle?
Seriously, that's the Jaden Smith Karate Kid silhouette, isn't it?
Let's try this again. So, here's Chuck Rock on the sign. I wonder why Chuck Rock appears in this game.
That was now that's a core design, but like who is the publisher for this for Double Dragon?
I don't know. I don't think they've had any of their logos show up anywhere in the game for me to tell.
I really don't want to talk about Chuck Rock anymore.
From now on, all we're gonna do is talk about Chuck Rock all day long. Every video from now on is a Chuck Rock video. We're gonna talk about his stomach extensively. I'm gonna do an entire video just on his stomach.
I'm gonna stop watching you play this, and I'm gonna boot up Chuck Rock, and I'll just talk about that while you talk about it. Because I really don't want to talk about how Core Design published it for the Atari ST and the Amiga, and then later the Commodore 64 and Amiga CD.
Wait a minute, who published it on those platforms?
Core Design, who you may know for their not-so-famous game Tomb Raider.
You may remember them from such games as Cybercop and Terminator, which are also shown at the top of the subway cars here.
Cybercrap and...
Did you ever play Cybercop?
No, I imagine it's better than this, though.
It's pretty close. It's really bad.
Oh, really?
It's most famous for its extreme violence and gore.
Oh, well, you know, that's at least... Would you tell her to get off the ceiling?
I would, but she won't listen.
They're just advertising, like, you know, here's 3 other games you could be playing instead of
We're sorry, we recommend these. They'll help remove the stink of Double Dragon on the Game Gear. And look at this thing. I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, but you better just jump up and do this, like, forward jump and kick. You can't do the stand still when it doesn't reach, and you can only hit her, like, when that arm is out for the most part. Like, who designed this? Who thought this was a good idea?
Chuck Rock.
If Chuck Rock designed this game, it would have been better.
There would have been a lot more Unga Bungas.
Yes.
Which, if you didn't know, Virgin Interactive published Chuck Rock.
You don't say!
The Master Drive, or the Master System, and the Game
Did you just call it the Master Drive? Are you on drugs, son?
I'm on something. I'm on Chuck Rock.
Yeah.
And Mama smoked Chuck Rock.
Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck, is also not very good. I don't remember if I said that before or not, because this level seems like it's taking forever.
Was Chuck Rock 2 also published by Virgin Interactive for the Sega?
I don't know. Why don't you go look that up and tell us?
Or could it have been published by Sony ImageSoft, who published the original Chuck Rock on the Sega CD, the Super NES, and the Game Boy?
What was that? The Game Boy. What was that? Oh, look at that! I finally beat her.
Oh my god. Chuck Rock spawned 2 sequels.
Yeah, the kart racing game is the other one.
Oh, BC Racers, okay.
And it's god-awful. Every version of it.
Yeah.
Watch your step! We're back on the train, but this time there's mountains in the background.
In case you weren't aware, Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck is a slapstick side-scrolling platform video game developed by Core Design.
Look, I just need to know who published it on what platforms.
Published by Virgin Interactive Entertainment in 1993 for the Amiga, Amiga CD32, Sega Game Gear, Sega CD, Sega Master System, and Sega Genesis.
I just gave her a nice gut punch.
There was no Super NES or Game Boy version of that.
That's a good thing, because that game's also not good. It's better than the first one, but it's still not good.
Oh, I like that the story takes up a little while after the end of the first game. Notice we just don't want to talk about this game anymore.
Tell me anything so I don't have to think about Game Gear Double Dragon. What can we possibly talk about? I know Chuck Rock.
After Chuck Rock rescued his wife Ophelia Rock from the T-Rex...
Yeah, I know. I played it. Nobody cares.
No. The T-Rex bully Gary Gritter.
Oh my god, shut up about Chuck Rock.
Yeah, but...
This is another boss, by the way. You see, I beat him in like 10 seconds there. That took me like 5 to 10 minutes the first time that I played that.
I wasn't even watching. I was reading about Chuck Rock. I looked up just in time to see him go flying off.
Stroll in the country.
Oh my god.
Again, credit where it's due. The backgrounds look fantastic.
Yeah, you know.
So you know what the worst part about Chuck Rock is? That there's only 3 games to talk about. I wish there were more Chuck Rock games to distract us from Double Dragon on the Game Gear.
Oh, you know, Chuck Rock was Core Design's mascot until Lara Croft came around.
Uh-huh.
I don't really have anything else to say about that.
Why not? I thought you would have loads of stuff to say about Chuck Rock.
Oh, how about this? Around the time of the game's release, Core commissioned a comic strip in the long-running UK children's magazine Look In, centering on the day-to-day lives of Chuck, Ophelia, and Junior.
Chuck Ophelia? Why did you say it like that?
Chuck Ophelia. As a meta-referential joke, Chuck Jr. owned a Sega Drive console.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's hysterical. Oh, I look back at the game and you're still in... You're fighting in front of a farm for some reason.
If you didn't notice, because you were so absorbed in Chuck Rock, there's a new female enemy here again. Not the motorcycle, the one earlier.
Oh. Yeah, I thought she was new, but I didn't want to say anything because, you know, she's not Chuck Rock.
Because you haven't been paying any attention.
Well, how can I? There's all this history of Chuck Rock to discuss.
Those birds, by the way, they hurt you if you get hit by them.
Yeah, I was wondering. It looked like you got hit by them, like,
yeah. Well, I didn't know if you saw that, because, you know, you're so caught up in Chuck Rock.
You know what? I think I'm going to look up some Chuck Rock videos on YouTube.
I don't think there'll be any Chuck Rock videos on YouTube.
Well, no. Well, not if you spell it Chunk Rock.
Does that star the kid from the Goonies?
Well, I mean...
Love, Chunk Rock!
Yeah, Chuck Rock attacks enemies with his belly and, you know, Chunk does the truffle shuffle.
He throws a pile of fake vomit down in a movie theater full of people. And if you get that reference, you're old.
Oh my god, somebody did a complete playthrough of Chuck Rock 2.
Yeah.
It's 37 minutes and 14 seconds.
Okay.
Which is about 20 minutes less than this.
Yes. You might be able to play both Chuck Rock and Chuck Rock 2 in the amount of time it takes to play through Game Gear Double Dragon. And this may not be a speedrun or anything, but I actually made it through this pretty quick.
That looks like a full playthrough of Chuck Rock. Runs clocks in at about 54 minutes.
My first time through this game took me almost 2.5 hours.
You should have played Chuck Rock.
I have actually played and completed Chuck Rock 2. I have the Sega CD version. Alright, and I think I'm going to ban you from talking anymore about Chuck Rock now. Let's talk about this game that I'm actually playing here. Or played. Look, we're in a barn now.
must have a hoedown. Why is that guy just dancing with his gun?
Because that's how you target people with guns in real life. You just walk up and down until you're on the same vertical plane. Gotta get aligned on that Z-axis. Well, I guess in this game it's more like the Y-axis, but it's supposed to be Z.
Since we're not talking about Chuck Rock anymore,
Yeah.
what about Joe and Mac, Caveman Ninja?
You know, that's another game I don't really like.
Wasn't that one published by Data East, the makers of
I don't know, why
Bad
don't you look it up and see what platforms different publishers published it for? And look, what is this thing supposed to be? Is this supposed to be a furnace in this barn? A big, giant metal fire furnace?
Well, yeah, that's for setting fire to the barn, so...
I mean, I'm not crazy in thinking that you wouldn't ordinarily find that in a barn, right? Nor giant chainsaw-wielding guys.
Wow. There's like 1 million publishers for Joe and Mac Caveman Ninjas.
Good, I don't need to know them all, so don't read them. Just watch me kick the feet of this chainsaw guy until he dies.
Well, we can have a callback to your last video because Tectoy published the Mega Drive version in Brazil.
How about that?
How about that?
Tectoy published lots of things in Brazil.
They sure did.
They also took quite a few Game Gear games and released them for the Master System there.
Wow. They... I never actually knew this, that Tectoy had a game development wing that put out exclusive games.
Yeah. Almost none of them are any good, but they made them.
Such as Farias Frustradas do Pica-Pau.
That classic.
What is the Zeebo console?
You don't know what the Zeebo is?
I don't know what the Zeebo is.
Oh my goodness. I thought you knew things about gaming.
I don't know things about Brazilian gaming.
Alright, so let's talk about Double Dragon for a second, and then I'll tell you about the Zeebo. So this enemy, if you didn't see, has this little sword that she can throw over and over at you. It's like the size of a machete. I don't know what it's supposed to actually be. Here's some more birds that just fly into your face, as birds are often wont to do. And then we get to fight another chainsaw guy. So while I'm fighting the chainsaw guy, let me tell you about the Zeebo and educate you on this. So you know the whole thing, I guess if you're watching my last video especially, that it was really expensive to import consoles into Brazil and, you know, sell them there, because they had high taxes on things that were manufactured in other countries for electronics. Right. So the Zeebo was a system that was made and developed for the Brazilian market and manufactured and built in Brazil. It came out in a couple of other places, kind of, but it was basically a like a 3G flip phone inside powering the thing. So it ran basically J2Me style games.
So it's all like those Java games.
Basically, yeah. So it was like the higher end version of it, which still wasn't good, but it had things like basically the mobile phone version of Resident Evil 4, which was still polygonal and everything. That was available for it. And apropos to this video, there is a version of Double Dragon made for it that is exclusive to that console. And I haven't played that one, and there's, as far as I know, I don't think there's any emulator for the Zeebo yet. But it actually looks like it's pretty good. It's very reminiscent in a lot of ways of the Game Boy Advance Double Dragon Advance.
Ah.
It's not identical. It has some levels that are not in that version, and levels from that version aren't in this one, well, the Zeebo one. But it looks like it's actually a decent game. If you know the channel Stop Skeletons from Fighting, he just did a whole thing on the Zeebo a while back. I mean, I knew about it long before that. But someone that... I don't remember this other person. They did a whole playthrough, a complete playthrough of the Zeebo version of Double Dragon. Except that they... Well, they did a complete playthrough, they edited a lot of it out, so it's not the entire game, like we're subjecting people to here in the Game Gear version.
Well, you would also be interested to learn that there was a port of Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja.
Yeah, I figured that was probably how you came across it.
But there is no port of Duck Rock.
Mm-hmm. The Zeebo had a few interesting games for it, but I mean, most of them are just, terrible mobile phone games. But there's a few that are supposed to be alright, like particularly Double Dragon.
Wow.
So, I will amend something I said at the beginning here. I don't think the characters in this are tile-based. I think they have to be sprites, especially judging from the amount of flicker that we see in this game.
Yeah.
It's like you don't normally see that at all in tile-based stuff.
Wait, you're not on the farm anymore?
No, we went from the farm into this mansion that is apparently at the edge of the farm, which is normally where you would find big, fancy mansions.
And Lucky from King of the Hill.
Yes. This is sort of a little boss rush area.
Oh, that has to be maddening.
No, it was tons of fun. I was so glad they put this in here and added basically an extra 5 minutes to the game that it didn't need to have. It's not really like there's any skill involved. You just walk around until you can get slightly above or below the enemy and punch them until they die.
And then have this interstitial.
Yes. Which, I mean, it's amazing how that hasn't gotten old, even though we've seen it about 30 times now, right?
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I think we were talking about Odd Job here, and him attacking us off-screen like he did earlier. You were wondering if he might do that again. And of course he would never do that in a second level, would he? Oh, there it is.
You know who would never attack you from off-screen?
I'm gonna guess either Chuck Rock or Joe and Mac, the Caveman Ninjas.
No, I was referring to Bub and Bob, the
Yes.
Bubble.
On Rainbow Island, Bubby and Bobby.
Or the Double Dragon Brothers, Bimmy and Jimmy.
Bimmy and Jimmy. Hey, here's a
Got one of
hilarious problem with this game. That you won't really see it because I took great pains to avoid it while I was playing. So when you jump, if you haven't noticed, you go like 3/4 of the way across the screen. And if you're on an area where the screen scrolls, if you jump, it won't scroll until you land and then walk forward a little bit.
Reading is fundamental. So this is the scene where he becomes a drag queen, right?
Yes. Anyway, so with that scrolling thing, it's not even always walk forward. Sometimes you'll jump forward and get to a point where the screen stops scrolling, and then you have to slowly walk back to the left and then to the right again before it'll start scrolling. It is maddening when that happens because it takes so long to walk to the left and then back to the right.
Oh wow, this game's almost over.
Yep. We are definitely getting there.
I'm gonna have to email Core Designs and tell them that we're very thankful for the creation of Chuck Rock because of how much time talking about it ate up.
That saved you from thinking about Game Gear Double Dragon.
You still have a sliver of health left.
Yep, how about that? And I will say, I can't remember, since this has been, 48 minutes now? If I already said this or not, but the only version of Double Dragon worse than this one is the Tiger LCD Double Dragon. Did you ever play that one back in the day?
Probably. I played a bunch of those. Those things were just... Okay, well, birds weren't bad enough. Here, have some bats. And some
Have some
turds.
bats, we'll have some rocks drop on you, we'll have some plasma fire, and then there's also going to be laser beams. And I'll make it through here without dying again, but that's... making it through even with this much proficiency is nigh impossible. So anyone playing this, the first time you get up to that level, you're gonna die probably like a second into it. Oh, this is the last boss! Hooray!
Oh, how about that? It's Red Falcon.
Did you ever see the Key and Peele sketch with Black Falcon? What was it, the Power Falcons?
I'm sure I did.
It's like Power Rangers, but it's like, I can't remember what color he was wearing. Jordan Peele plays what they keep calling Black Falcon, even though it's not his color, and it's just because he's black. And he keeps calling them out for how racist it is.
I was just referencing the end boss from...
Contra, I know. But it reminded me of that. The Power Falcons.
Wait, that guy didn't even attack you when you fell down.
No, he's got like a force field on that repels you. Until you can hit him a few times.
That seems kind of cheap.
Yeah, well, it is kind of cheap. See how he's morphing between him and another character? That other character is your long-lost brother.
Jim B.
Bimmy has found his Jimmy. And the other 2 times I played this, he did not let me get that many shots in at the beginning. Like, he kept flying up into the air, like, after every couple of hits.
And then peeing on you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your long-lost brother, Chuck Rock.
Yes. You play Joe, and that's your long-lost brother, Mac.
You were caveman ninjas.
Yes. And there, we saved him!
Is it over?
Look at that! It's done!
We saved him and committed arson.
We have broken the inner circle of the evil dragon clan.
There were no
Freeing the world from their power, ... There's 3 dots in an ellipsis, you jerks! For now, incorrect ellipsis again.
There was
Matthew from, why did you do this to us?
Matthew from where?
Michael Field, you did a good job. Congratulations. Tom Tanaka, you did terrible.
You are fired.
John Weir, if you worked on the backgrounds, nice work. If you worked on the sprites, terrible job.
He was the assistant, and he didn't assist.
Lyle Hall 2. I don't know what you did, Lyle Hall 2, but it resulted in this, so it can't have been good.
I wonder what that symbol actually translates to.
And there you go. That's Game Gear Double Dragon.
Oh, thank God.
So tell me the truth. Great game or greatest game?
Well, if there were more appearances by Chuck Rock, I'd score it a little bit higher, but... You know,
I can't even explain to you how much I want to punch you in the face right now. On that note, I'm so tired, I just got lightheaded laughing at you and felt like I was going to pass out. So I think it's time to bring this to a close.
Yeah.
Game Gear Double Dragon. I played it, so you don't have to. You're welcome. Anywho, that was Game Gear Double Dragon. Playing it is as much fun as getting your teeth drilled with no Novocaine. Playing through Game Gear Double Dragon is like dunking your head face first into a pool of hydrochloric acid. I guess the point I'm trying to subtly get across here is that the game is not good. Do you think there's another official version of Double Dragon that's worse than this one? Let me hear about it in the comments. And no, like I said during the game, the Tiger LCD handheld doesn't count. That brings us to the end of another video, my retro gaming friends. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. I just recently launched Patreon and Ko-fi pages if you'd like to help support the work I do on this channel. With that, I'll say thanks for watching, and see me later.